Real talk. No bull. Real talk.
You know
Putting it all on the table. You know what to do.
Good evening. Welcome, everybody. Episode 10.
Episode 10.
Episode 10. We made it.
We got there.
Made it this far.
Yeah, we got there. It took a while,
It's
but
taken us a while.
it feels quick at the same time.
Theoretically, we should be on about episode 15, but you guys don't need to know that. That's okay.
A few mishaps.
A few technical issues. Hey, just before we get going, if you like what we do, follow, subscribe, like, comment. It all helps us in the end.
Even drop us a topic.
Drop us a topic, reach out. You can do it in the comments or you can do it behind the scenes. Drop us a message. That's all good. And if you ever want any information, any help, you can reach out to us. But we've got someone special on the cast tonight, Stephen from the Dads community. How are we?
Awesome, feeling unreal. It's can I just say it's a privilege being on here because there's three
Again.
dads again, third time, fourth time lucky, but we're here. But I've got three dads that have come together because they've met through the community.
Yeah, man.
Like-minded, just good human beings, good hearts, want to make something of themselves, find a bit of purpose. We've got you two incredible gents, and we've got Dean behind the camera, and we've got Maddie as well, sitting there watching as well.
The big four.
Yeah.
Big four. So it's pretty awesome. It's pretty inspiring to be amongst you lot and seeing the growth, the journey, the quest, as Timmy says. It's awesome. So thanks for having me.
That's catching on, that quest thing too, man. By the way, I've got plenty of friends that always say, it's not a journey, mate, it's a quest. It's catching on.
Yeah, it is. I
Hashtag.
don't know, man. I just find the word journey a bit boring.
Yeah.
It's a bit played out, I think.
Yeah.
You know, let's get on a quest.
Yeah.
Sounds
It's more
way
adventurous.
more adventurous.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds
Slay
way
some
more
dragons.
That's it. But hey, man, Dad's community. We've all met through the Dad's community. Let's take it right back. Let's take it right back to before the Dad's community. Where did the DC, the Dad's community, where did it come from? How did it grow? What was the seed that got planted in order for something like this to flourish? You take us there.
So even before it was a seed, basically, what was happening was I was just a dad, two beautiful kids, a wife, and just going through the motions of what society thought was the norm, you know, get an education, get a great job, get the house, the white picket fence, have a couple of beautiful kids, a beautiful partner, the dog, you know, going on holidays, you know, just living that life that, you know, I guess we thought was our dream, but it actually wasn't. And you only realise that when it's all gone away, through some hardships. It was a quest that had started. I still don't know what my future looks like. It's one day at a time. Obviously, I need to set certain visions and where I want to go, but it all started back from when I was a young married man who didn't know himself, his own values, didn't know who he was, and didn't know the life he was living at the time, didn't have purpose or fulfillment. So that's where it sort of started. And then if we're talking deeper about it, the kid's mum had a health scare, had a brain tumour, which was a real struggle, and having a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old at the time, my worst fear was that my children were going to grow up without their mum. And obviously my kids were quite attached to their mum. As your dads know, sometimes the children can be quite attached to their mum, and it can be a scary thought for that mum not to be there for the child and you having to raise these kids. And it was quite daunting for me. And obviously for her, what she was going through was quite impactful for the family unit. And we weren't in a great shape anyway as a relationship. And, our cracks started to happen. And then COVID hit, and our relationship over time we became more, not even friends, probably resentful with each other because the lack of time we're spending with each other. It was focused on the kids and work and the pressures of life. We're all burnt out and exhausted, and we would hardly talk anymore. When we did talk, it was felt with resentment, which was hard. And at the end of the day, the kid's mum made the courage, had the decision. She had the courage to end our relationship, which at the time was the worst thing I felt could ever happen to me and the family. That dream that I was talking about, that all I knew had ended. And yeah, when that happened, yeah, I was lost. I was trying to find a new identity. I didn't know what that was, and I didn't have a support network out there. No friends. Family, I wanted to sort of keep out of the mix a little bit. I wanted to not complicate things or be enabled in certain ways. So I sort of stuck to myself, and it was a struggle. I reached out and got a coach at the time, which, because COVID, I couldn't find a therapist or a counsellor. It was manic out there. There's no support for anyone, and there was no community or really men's groups that were showing up consistently and active every week. And I got a coach because I was actually a coach and a leader in the corporate world, and I knew the power of having someone there by your side day in, day out if you needed them, and to keep you accountable and on track. So I had a coach, and we just started discovering, my new identity, doing little things each and every day to find out who I was and really, as you say, Timmy, find that quest, enjoy that journey and realise that your new life is going to be incredible. You don't know what it looks like yet, but it's going to be something amazing. And, we just slowly built my confidence over time, taking many actions, building positive habits and getting out there was finding that human connection that we talk about was a massive thing. And we basically came up with a situation where I said, there's no one out there, mate, to my coach. Like, there's no support. And he goes, well, you're going to have to find it. You may have to create it.
Because you're not originally from Queensland, are you?
No, so I grew up in Tassie till the age of 19. Then I moved to the Gold Coast and lived that young bachelor life and then moved to Toowoomba, bought the family home, worked at the bank, and then moved to Brisbane in the corporate world and did my thing in there. And, I've lived majority of my adult life in Queensland now, but I wouldn't say it's not who you grew up with, your school friends and all of that and community so much, so I was missing a part of that. And it was I definitely felt it, I was going home alone each and every night while the kids and obviously the mum were together in a separate place doing their thing, starting their new life. And obviously I was still seeing my kids, but it was still hard going home every night after a day's work where you're sort of unfulfilled. You're going, why am I doing this? So yeah, we had to find a community because there was a creative community because there's no one out there for myself. I know you men relate a lot to that. I know Maddie does dramatically. I know Dean does. I know a lot of the dads, relate to that, trying to find like-minded men who are going through similar things, and coming out of isolation. And we founded the community online, created it called Dad's Community. We laughed about it because it's such an original name. Like he said, couldn't you come up with a more articulate or fancy or cool name? I said, mate, I couldn't come up with anything. I thought, we're Dad, we're community, let's keep it super simple. There's too many fancy stuff out there.
Don't overcomplicate it, man. It is, call it what it is.
Correct, man.
But I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So did you use that that passion to get through obviously the dark times? Because how did you stop yourself from falling into a rut with, obviously you said that your wife at the time made the decision to call it quits, so you would have felt a fair bit of I'm responsible for this, I'm only assuming that you felt like you caused it. How did you how did you stop yourself from falling into a pit? And two, was it only through that you realized, okay, if I use that energy into Dad's to form what is now this Beast Dad's Community, that it would pull you through?
So couple of things I want to go, for me, what it was is I'll go back to the emotion of it, yeah? So that raw emotion, I would label myself at the time. When that separation happened, I'd literally feel like I'm a loser. You know what I mean? I've lost my family. I couldn't keep them together. Yeah, it was that when, honestly, it was I felt like a failure. I didn't want to face anyone about it, wonder what people would say. It was and it was a loss. It was like a death happened.
Because you would have a lot of, can join friends and stuff like that too. So it's kind of like, well, how does that all go down? Like who chooses side? Like do you choose sides? Like
Yeah,
do
well, the
people
men
choose sides?
Well,
Like
my mates, the men, and not blaming them, they just stepped back and they didn't want to complicate it as men do, like it's tough enough under the roof,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
So they
that's
stepped
it.
back and, like there's no hard feelings there. Like I'm all about love and not trying not to be resentful, anger and frustration, all those sort of things are an energy. If you're into energy or frequency you don't want to be in, there's nothing good that comes out of it. So I just want to send people away with love and compassion and hope they do well. And but for me, I felt all those things. And to any men out there who have gone through that, I completely understand what you're going through, but I can let you know it's not permanent. It's only temporary. You just have to take action. And that's what we're talking about. I got myself a coach, understood my values, who I was as a person, took some action, set some goals, and one of them was creating that community and then building that community. So it gave me something to, I guess, target, to aim for, and something I had to show up regularly to and build a habit, of showing up each and every day in that and build trust with people out there. So I had something to do day in, day out when my kids weren't there with me. Yeah, something to keep me positive, something to focus on, build positive habits about, but also share my story and and the pain and the emotion I was going through. It was therapy for me because I was able to talk about it.
totally.
Like it was like, people journal, people will do other things. Some people, may not have that space, but I created a space where I could actually talk about stuff. Now, I didn't know that, people relate so much because I felt alone on that journey, that quest. I felt so alone on that quest. But after hearing one man and another come forward and go, hey, I relate to you, Stephen. Thank you for being honest and vulnerable and real and raw with me. And, I was like, cool, okay, I'm definitely onto something here. This is pretty cool. I'm thinking I'm finding my purpose and I'm starting to feel fulfilled in some sort of way that I never had. And I truly believe that any man or woman, especially men outside their family unit, need something with purpose, something they're passionate about, that, lights them up, because, we are going to love our kids, we're always going to provide and try our best for our family. But it doesn't light you in, that light there, that fire's not day in, day out. You know what I mean? It is hard work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It takes a lot of work. There's a lot of ups and downs. There's a lot of struggles because you're dealing with people, yeah? And you care and love for them so deeply, but you need something that just you find fun.
Yeah.
And you can grow it.
But with that passion though, do you find, well, I don't know about you, but for me, you find a passion and you want to pursue it. But there's, again, an element of guilt for pursuing it because you're not putting your family first or anything like that. Well, what?
Yeah, mate.
Did you feel anything like that?
Yeah, and off the back of that, sorry.
Yeah, no, dude, please chime in.
When you started it, were you still working in the corporate world too?
Yeah. So
and how was that perceived within that industry?
Yeah, so two beautiful questions, lads, and powerful. So going to the corporate world, yes, I was in that corporate world and I started that community, but it was getting busy online. A lot of people were reaching out. Obviously, I was starting to have more belief in myself and I was starting to realize what my worth was. I was starting to find that purpose, fulfillment, and I came to a crossroads. So I came to a point where there was a line in the sand. I had to make a decision. And that decision was, do I take the leap and have the courage to do something that, I could have purpose? Obviously, those fears were there, thinking if I failed this, would I feel like a loser again? But I think the main thing is I've been humbled so much through the marriage separation and not seeing my children each and every day that, I was humbled that much. The ego had gone or been stripped. So I thought, why not give something with a bit of purpose, fulfillment? If it doesn't work out, what would happen? Move in with my mum, my dad, whoever. They'll take care of me and I'll just reset and I'll go out again and try something new, yeah? So that's what happened. Yes, in the corporate world, it probably wasn't, seen by the bosses as a good thing because, they, I was talking about something outside work that I may go and pursue. And I understand that totally. They need They need some consistency in there. They need some certainty for the staff, not their leader and boss going to go, oh, he may leave soon, so I can understand that. But yeah, I was pretty determined. Once I realised where I needed to go, I was like, yep, it's happening. And I was putting it out to the universe, telling everyone, and manifested it. And there we go. And I took that leap, and it was amazing. And yeah, going to your question, Braden, as well, like, yeah, guilt. Guilt's not a bad thing. I was on TV show Insight, which Tim was also a guest on, and you get some incredible guests on there. And I got really close with one of the psychologists on there. He was amazing, and he came. His topic was about guilt, and he was saying guilt means you got a conscience. It means you care. You know what I mean? Like, it means you got feelings. And you're starting to realize what is wrong or right, or if it aligns with your values. Yeah, it's a moral compass that allows you to reset, work out where you went wrong and go again. Yeah, so I see it as a moral compass with those side of things. Guilt for me, yes, I definitely had guilt. Like, when my kids weren't, obviously I quit my job. You know what I mean? I had no income coming in. It was scary. I was living off my house savings, my kids' future. Like, that's the future of my kids. And I'm just throwing it like a gambling to start a community, and there was going to be sacrifices my kids had to make. We honestly would share, like, my kids would share kids' meals, like they sleep in one bed, little things. Like, I moved in a little unit, but it made us so much closer. So again, it wasn't happening to us. It was happening for us. And what my kids got out of it was they seen their dad inspired with purpose and passion and fulfillment and serving others and helping others and making impact on other men's lives, which flows onto their children, their partners, and the wider community. And my kids got to be part of a community. You know what I mean? Like, the tough thing is, like, when you, as a single dad, and you're going to pick your kids up from school or whatever, they've already got their environment around there. They've already got their friends. Their mum has got their friends, and you feel like the outsider coming in to pick up your kids. And then when your kids are with you, they've got no friends. They've just got you. And, they can get bored of you very quick. You can get the shits with them pretty quick, and it is full on, hey? And you're trying to find things to do for your kids but the community is so beautiful that, allows other men to allow their kids to find their mateship group, and their friends. And now you've created a life for your child, from your side of things, which is amazing. And I know a lot of men relate to that as well. So,
yeah. Well, my kids have made many good friends out of the community,
Yes.
and that's, it's a beautiful thing to not only see the men making good mates, but yeah, as the kids also making really, really good lasting friendships too. Yeah, that's really important.
But even the dads in the community are good with each other's kids too.
of course, yeah.
Like, my kids love coming there not only to see the friends that they've made, but like, yourself and Dean and, yourself as well,
Yeah.
and Maddie now.
Yeah.
They love going there, and
It's
just they get disappointed. They get shitty when I say, Dad's not thinking of it. Dad doesn't want to go. He's a bit tired. And they force you. And that being them forcing you to go is actually works out. It's a benefit for yourself.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Okay. So now you've created the community.
Yep.
Then what happened? So you're still in the corporate world.
Yep.
You're getting maybe a little bit of flack there. Take us through the next step. Yeah.
So basically, I just put my resignation in, and I went, okay, let's do this.
What was people's reaction to that?
Yeah.
Like, and how did that make you feel in the moment when Did you get some backlash? Did people say you're crazy?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was backlash. There was more like the people that, my family especially, they just love me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They care for me, and they don't want to see me like, throw away my savings or throw my future and my career away, over something that hasn't really happened before. So I just see it from a place of love from them and caring. And maybe from a place where, you know, they've been in the system, they don't know what's outside there too much, you know, and it's just a place of probably lack of understanding from them.
And what also happens too is people get scared for you because it would be scary for them.
Correct.
And so they project their insecurities onto you because they're like, oh, well, it's not something I would do. So
It's outside of the norm.
Yeah, but you know, I guess someone like yourself, you know, you've laid that foundation
Yes.
by, you know, having creating, you know, getting your coach, creating solid plans, you know, starting something, seeing this sort of snowball effect, and then, you know, it's got this flow on effect, right?
Correct.
And then and so now you've handed in your resignation. That's massive.
Yeah, it was huge. You know, then I went from, like I said, going to work in a suit nearly every day and all dressed up to now walking along with, you know, I'll be up at the sunny coast or whatever, and I'll be like smashing out stickers everywhere with no shoes on and boardies. And I'm like, this is just a weird change, eh? But it was just so much uncertainty. Though, I don't know, it was like I had this inner belief, like everything was going to be okay. Like it was just keep showing up, Stephen, you know, and just keep doing positive actions and keep doing positive things and just try and give. Like one thing my coach was telling me also is just keep giving without expectation, you know, like you'll feel lighter for it and you'll be surprised what comes in return for you. You know, so just keep giving without expectation. And then suddenly I start seeing these things happening in return for me, like little awesome things. You know, beautiful dads from the community taking care of me, you know, give me some work if I needed some paid work, or give me food on the table, or, you know, just helping out each and every way they possibly could just to help me get through those tough times at the start. It was just incredible. It was so special just to see just when you give without expectation, and in return, stuff starts happening. And it might not be directly for me. It might be myself helping another dad, and then that he helps another dad. You know what I mean? It's like, wow, that's cool. You know, that's what I love seeing most.
Did you, when you started the Dads community, did you already have the vision of starting the coaching for dads, or was it just something that came from that?
So great question, actually. Like, obviously, so my coach said, okay, we've got to come up with a bit of a plan. Like, you can't just quit your job and start a community. You've got to have like an income somehow, yeah. So, but you've got this skill set, you know. So again, we talked about my values, you know, and what I was really good at, you know, and what I love doing, but also what was my skill set. You know, I was a coach at the time too, so, and a leader. So, you know, I had some really good attributes under there that I could lean into. Really, being a coach in the corporate world or being a leader is no different, really, to stepping in your personal world. It's just a different product. Now, the human being is the product. When the corporate world, the product may be like KPIs and targets and all that sort of stuff. The destination is just totally different. I just found that I could transition those skills like accountability, good listening, asking quality questions, giving them some tools, you know, just being a sounding board at times as well, and then apply that in the personal world with people, but be real with myself, share my story, be vulnerable. I could swear, I could be me. It was just awesome. Like there was no restriction, you know, and there was no like other underlining thing where, you know, in the corporate world, you know, you might have to coach someone, but you know them, you know, upper management might want to let them go, and you're told to sort of coach them out maybe, you know, and that doesn't sit well with me as a person. So, but my job now is in the personal world. I want to see this person flourish. You know, I want to see them happy, lit up. I want them to find a purpose, or you know, just be present with their children and their partner, or just with themselves, you know, just being happy. And that what lifts me up. So yes, we just transitioned that to, you know, the personal world, within the community, outside the community. I even coached kids, which was awesome. Yeah, I had people reach out and go, because there's some beautiful mums out there, single mums that didn't have a positive male role model in that kid's life. And they made an investment in me to be able to go and be that positive male role model that would show up on a weekly basis and just listen, teach them life skills, ask quality questions, give a bit of guidance, accountability. And it was amazing, So did that with children, did it with, obviously men, I've helped women out. It's great. So,
Okay, I didn't know that about the
Yeah.
kids. Like,
that's probably why you see
the
me
kids
a lot.
love you, man.
Oh, yeah.
They
I love
do. You're like a celebrity.
Yeah.
You are, man. Zachy talks about you like
Yeah.
you're a celebrity, man. He loves you.
I guess at the end of the day, man, we're just kids like that are forced to grow up, like, and it, we just want to, like, it's just when I go to these meetups and the kids are you'll see me. I feel so comfortable now. I can leave you men just chat and do your thing. And you'll see me out in the oval. Like, I'll be kicking the ball around. I'll be playing with the kids. I'll be laughing, geocaching. Like, I was doing...
Yeah, that's the one, geolocation.
Yeah, I'll be doing it because the great thing about children and they're just light. There's a beautiful spirit about them. They're not heavy. You know what I mean? And sometimes, they can be harsh. But there's beauty in that, because you know what you get. They're not coming from a different angle. It's just raw and beautiful. And I just love being around that. And I literally be around that all day.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So if we take it back to Maddie's episode,
Yes.
he refers to a sticker he found in a bathroom
Taking a dump.
while he was taking a dump there. But that was...
That's
and
the
then
best story.
he looked into the group.
Yep.
And then he found that you were doing like a barbecue.
Yes.
And so this weekly barbecue thing, talk us about what that was all about and why you created something like that to start with. I mean, it's something so simple, but talk us through the need for something like that.
So, like, for us, it's like what I try and do with us men is apply the KISS method. You may have heard about it in your world and work. Keep it simple, stupid. Like, at the end of the day, you want to remove as many challenges and barriers as you can, any excuses for these men not to show up. You want to remove as much as you can. You want to keep it super simple, but you also it's a cultural thing, as well. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, men love to get around, some warm food being cooked up, it's, I don't know, it's a tradition. Like, you see it with all cultures too, you can walk around, I could walk around the city or South Bank and I just see like, Middle Eastern people or Europeans hanging around, like cooking up awesome food and just chatting and whatever. And that's the vision I had, is just in Aussie culture, it's a barbecue, let's get some snags on the barbie and let's just talk, And I remember actually the first barbecue meetup, and it was just like, obviously super awkward because no one knew anyone and everyone was obviously quite anxious. So there's no conversations happening. And it's just me and like 10 men. And I just remember the question I asked, like, at the end of the day, like, sometimes humor can break things in a good way. So I just put up your hand and said, tell me if you are feeling anxious right now. Like, just like, it's just an awkward question to ask people that are feeling awkward, but it was something funny in it because it was just so straight up. And they're like, yep, me. And we just all giggled and laughed. And then the conversation started flowing from there. I remember it to this day when that happened. So, and the sticker thing, yeah, like I said, I was whacking up stickers everywhere thinking, where would men be chilling? Well, men want to escape, so the toilet is a perfect place for it to go. And there's been some humour behind it too, which I crack up. I've seen on a community board once, someone put up a sticker and goes, oh, this is where the dads hang out in the cubicle. And just pissed me. And
Absolutely.
it made me laugh, eh? Like, I just thought that was a good one. Like, but you know what? The stickers was a cool thing because I'll go wandering and I'll be like, okay, if I'm a man and I'm either by myself or my missus or my kids are talking to me and I'm just like, oh, you know what? I'm in my head right now. I'm just looking around. And where would I be looking right now? I'll be looking at poles. I'll be looking at like anything that I'll go, yep, sticker needs to go there. Sticker needs to go there. And that's how I did it. And yeah, a lot of people came to the community because of those stickers. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that's neat.
With the community, that's well, it's in my head that I want people to think that it's not I remember talking to you about it. I reached out to you just talking about the dads community, saying that The only thing that stopped me from going was thinking it was going to be this big fucking kumbaya session and man hugs and holding hands and just quickly, it is
What?
not that, man.
What, you
Which
don't-
is fine. I love hugging men.
You don't do that?
Yeah,
He does now, mate. He's all about the hugs. Yeah, he does.
Yeah, I love the
don't
hugging
love
now,
that.
dude. Don't get me wrong.
He's a
But,
loving
but
man.
it's not. It's just quickly. It's not like that at
Yep.
all. It
Yep.
is. You just go there. You have some snags.
Yep.
Some pizza from Pizza Hut.
Yep.
You know. It's just a good spot to honestly be in where
Yep.
you can have it. You can either, if you want to go there, have a serious chat because there's people there that are willing to listen and help. If not, just talk shit.
Yep.
So it's what we do, really, at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah.
Us men.
Well, I mean, you know, for someone like myself, like I came from New Zealand, and obviously, you know, you come over here, and I don't know anybody where we lived apart from one person, and he was from New Zealand as well, and he'd been here for a couple of years prior to me coming over, and he just said to me, "Oh, you should join this dad's community." He knew that I'd already done some admin work for other dads groups on Facebook and stuff like that, and I said, "Yeah, sweet." So I jumped straight on board, and then I seen that the community was quite active in the local area, and so it was like, well, this is good, and I just sort of jumped straight in there. Because even though I was apprehensive, just anxious, going through those layers of social anxiety, like turning up to a meet and stuff like that, I knew that without kind of pushing past some of those barriers, it was like, how are you going to make any mates? And I remember in the first week that I was here, we're staying with our mum, and she'd been here a long time, and she says, "Oh, you're never going to make any friends with any Aussies." And
Come on.
and I thought, I'll prove you wrong. I'll prove you. That's just what I do, right? And it's been fantastic because it's not just a barbecue meet every week. There's bushwalks, and there's running groups, and there's full drive days, and there's fishing groups, and
Gel
there's
blasting.
darts teams, and there's futsal teams, and there's family days, and there's all sorts of things. The end of the year Christmas lunch. It's more than just a few guys getting together every week. It is really a community of people, and it is more than just kumbayas around the fucking fireplace. You know what I mean?
That's important. I want people to know that.
It's not just men bleeding out their hearts and crying and all this sort of stuff. It does happen sometimes. It's because it's a safe space for men to be able to come, but it is really more than that. It's a community of men who, when you're a part of it, it does go a lot deeper. There is a lot of background help. There is men helping each other out. I've seen it on the page many times. Hey guys, I'm in a sticky situation. I need to move house this weekend. That guy will have 6 dudes turn up to his house he doesn't even know and help him out.
Bro code.
Because that's what the community is about, right? And so it's a beautiful thing. I think it's an awesome thing. Like I wanted to create something similar back home where I lived, but I just didn't have the time. I was busy. I had a young family like yourself, but I was heavily involved in my job, and really, your vision was much further and deeper than I could have ever created. So when I come here and I seen something that was like, it was just like, wow, yeah, I'm straight in there. You know what I mean? And I'm glad I did because, it just fast tracked me to so many connections and friends, and that's what it's about. So if you're in the area and you want to, if you're in the north side of Brisbane and this is something that you need, then it's something that you should join.
Listen to your wives, because I know a lot of men have been put onto the community by their wives. I know I was.
Great point, bro.
Got a lot of support from the wives, mate. That's for sure.
Like, so speaking to the beautiful women out there as well. So I just want to tell a story in the past. So I remember this. I was on the sunny coast. I was up the top of Alex Heads there, and this lady approached me. I was wearing a Dad's Community shirt. This was like early in the stage, like early. And I thought she was going to give me a gobful. I was like, I was nervous. She looked like she approached me with like some sort of agenda or purpose, and I was like, here we go. And then she's like, no, like, this is awesome what you're doing, tell me what about it. I've got a son who's struggling at the moment. And I was just like, wow, okay, the women are massive advocates. There's women out there that have a man in their life. It could be the father of their children, their son, their grandson, their grandfather, their father. Like they've got a man in their world they care deeply about. They just want to see do well, and they know that that man needs human connection and an environment, and he's not getting that at that time because he's isolated, and they're seeing their man unhappy and sad and lost, you know. So finding that place out there from them to push them out there, you know, is awesome. And you see it on the community boards, the women are all over it and they're super positive. So well done to them. You know, we all, you know, the one thing I don't like is division between people. It doesn't matter genders, anything. I believe like we can get along with anyone, you know, with love and compassion and care and just being a good human being at heart, you know. So, you know, I just believe that if we can get the men in a really good place, because men are leaders naturally, like we are strong, we're leaders, we're protectors, we're providers, we're all the above, you know, like, but we need them to be strong, you know, emotionally especially, yeah, and the only way to do that, to be honest, is looking after them, you know, and creating an environment where they're going to flourish and not where they're isolated. Yeah, so it's best for everyone to get their man in a good place, basically. So, yeah.
You know what they say, you know, happy wife, happy life. Well, the other saying is when dad wins, everyone wins.
I never heard of that one. That's a good one.
Or happy spouse, happy house.
That's
I heard that one too. There you go.
it goes both ways.
Goes both ways,
Yeah,
man.
absolutely.
They're awesome.
Oh, there you go. There's a few freebies for you.
Yeah, I love them.
Yeah.
I love them. Yeah.
Yeah. And so through the community now, so you've built this community and it's starting to flourish.
Yes.
And so, I mean, what kind of numbers are we talking now? How many people in the community now?
Yeah, so it's incredible. So there's two basically online communities with Dad's community. So there's the private page that's solely for dads only, where they can feel safe and not judged and just open up, you know, which is incredible. Some of the stories that you see in there and their vulnerability and the help and accountability is so inspiring. It's amazing.
It's amazing when a man feels safe, how much they open up.
Oh, 100%, man. Like,
I've noticed that over the last couple of weeks, some of the posts that have come out,
yep, it's raw.
won't go into it, but yeah, when they feel safe, they really open up.
Correct. There could have been, that man could not open up for 20, 30, 40 years, and they've just opened up in a moment, yeah. And then you've got the public page, which I've now put a lot of focus on because I believe that with the wider community, we can grow the dad's community more, and that's with the public page. You know, it's men, women, children, anyone can be part of that page.
It's about showcasing, isn't
Correct.
it? It's about showcasing
Yes.
what the dad's community is about so that others can see what it's about.
Correct.
Yeah.
And my partner actually spoke to something really cool. So she's part of all these other groups, yeah? And she sees the inner fighting and the judgment and all these things that are going on in all these other groups, yeah? And she knows, obviously, with me, like the dad's community, I don't share the specifics or details of stories, but I just say, oh man, there's this beautiful man just, you know, poured his heart out. It was beautiful. And the other men are supporting him. She sees, you know, how happy and fulfilled on purpose I am when I see something on there or when I'm in, you know, an event coming back, you know, and she's like, the dad's community is like just different level of like, you know, like of support and mateship and safeness and like, you know, there's no judgment and it's just beautiful. And everyone holds each other accountable too, which is awesome. I see it. If someone's trying to put down someone, they'll hold them accountable like of that, which is amazing. So yeah, there's the two pages. So 3,200 on the private, 1,100 on the public, and both are, you know, massive. But I think the most important, like there's bigger groups out there. We all know there's tens of thousands, but when you go into the insights of these Facebook groups, the engagement, the active members are like 90% nearly, you know, all those groups, which is unheard of. So it means most people are either observing posts, pictures, commenting, liking, they're on the page doing something, you know, even if it's, like I said, just looking, but they're there.
Yeah.
And that's a main thing, yeah.
Yeah. And then so through the community now, so it's up and it's flourishing, it's good, it's running, it's, you know, you're years into it. Now you've branched off into something new.
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
So
couple of areas. So obviously, as I mentioned previously, I coach and mentor the dads within the community and outside, which is incredible. Love it, and I'll continue doing that forever because I am a dad. I know a dad, I understand a dad, and I know the potential these men have. And I just want to mention a couple of these things. Yeah, these men take ownership or whatever's not working in their life. Maybe they're unhappy for a reason. They're feeling unfulfilled. The relationship isn't working out, or they've been separated, or they're not seeing their kids or whatever. If they can go, hang on, what part do I play in that, and how can I take ownership of that? Then that's a big start. It's just obviously getting the direction and clarity moving forward. That's where you get the support, either through a therapist, counselor, coach, anyone. But that's where I come in, the coach side of things, the accountability and the support each and every day is something special. So
I'm distracted. Dean's pressing buttons.
we're good.
Oh, okay, good.
Sure.
So distracted for a second there. I could see you looking at me going, Bram, what the fuck you looking at, man?
So a funny thing. Yes. This show a few times. And they're all throwing my PTSD going on from our end when we see something going on. But yeah, going back to that. Sorry, Steph. No, very right. Just ownership, taking action and being uncomfortable and getting in the right environment is huge. You just got to keep showing up. Like I think some dad mentioned the other day, he wants this and that. And I said, just show up. That's it. Don't complex it. Just show up. And then it'll take care of itself. We consistently show up in that environment. Yeah. So from a coaching mentoring side of things, that's where I help them with direction, accountability, skills, tools, all the above that I was talking about previously. But also a passionate purpose I've found. Obviously, I care deeply about my kids and other kids and seeing parents going through separation and the trauma that's passed on to the kids through that. And I was once a kid going through that, and my kids are obviously, I try and limit the trauma, but it's always going to be there for them. But now what I've done is I've founded with my beautiful partner, Emma, who brings a mum's perspective, and her, would shout out to her, Grace, shout out, bro, supportive partner, is we just focus on now is trying to support the parents through separation where we can minimize any damage such as trauma, like, I guess, physical, mental, anything like court, costs, all the damage that can come out of going through separation. Trying to minimize that as much as possible by providing coaching and mentoring through those times.
Because it could be a messy process, right?
Oh, it is full on. Like, for example, there's two aspects to it, and that's what we've realized is there's the emotional support you need. The accountability with communication is a massive one. Boundary setting is huge. Making sure you're taking ownership of your stuff as well and taking action towards building healthier habits, etc. Checking on your children, making sure they're good through the process and they're not forgotten about because your own emotion and ego taking control. The inner fighting with your, potentially with your partner or ex-partner that could be happening because high emotion can potentially, obviously, remove clarity as well. They say high emotion is low intelligence, It happens that way, unfortunately. And then there's the practical side that you don't even realise. Like I come out of a separation, I didn't even know my bank account password, I couldn't even pay a bill. And then I'm looking at child maintenance, and then I'm looking at, parenting plan and consent orders and all these things that are put to be or I know are out there or don't even know that's out there. So now Emma comes in with that side of things and provides that practical support where I provide the emotional, the accountability, all that support and that side.
Do you guys both focus, for example, would you have a couple a couple that are about to be divorced? Do you have them come to you for advice, or do you find your clientele at the moment, just for example, a dad coming to you saying, I'm going through a divorce, and then Emma would also offer the female perspective on what their ex is about to go through as well to kind of balance it up?
It's a dynamic of all. So in a perfect world, would love both people to come.
Yeah.
It means that they're open for discussion and working on things together and being on the same page, importantly. We know at those times that doesn't happen, and we're no therapist or counsellor, you know, that stuff we always advise go to them for that stuff, you know, but for us, it's mainly really just keeping them accountable, providing tools and skills, you know, support day in, day out that we can provide in those times. But yes, couples, single dads, single mums, like great perspective is like Emma can bring the practical side, but she also can give the side to a man where she can say to a man, hey, I know what the woman's thinking right now.
That's important.
You know, this is why she's acting out this way. This is why she's behaving this way. You know,
Because your partner's been through it too, right?
she's been on the other side of it, man.
That's
She's
right.
been on it. And then you look at me, like how much I can add value, not just to the men and the dads, but to the women. Like I speak to how many men on a daily basis? I see their actions, their behaviours, their language, their mannerisms, their tone, how they communicate. I can see the environment around them, how their children are, how the relationship's doing, and I know exactly, or I'm pretty close to know what's going through a man's mind, because I also was a man going through it and now see it day in, day out. So I can tell a woman and go, hey, the man's doing this.
And you're still a man.
Still a man, yes, and that won't never change. But a man will, basically I can literally go to the woman and go, hey, he's behaving this way, maybe try this approach, you know, because you want a win-win for everyone, don't you? You know, like it's all about, you know, trying to, I hate the word manipulation, I hate it, but it is, we all do it, yeah? We all want a positive outcome for ourselves and our children, you know, and how can you get everyone on side, you know, and that's through different strategies and tools, yeah?
Just want everyone to win. And that way it benefits the kids.
We do it with our own kids, man. Like we
You
do
want
it all
the
the
kids
time.
to win the most.
That's the winner.
Bribing.
Yeah.
How many times do we bribe our kids? You know, or punish them, you know?
And so what's this new business called? Just to get it out there a little
So
bit.
Supercharged U Coaching.
Supercharged
and
U
the
Coaching.
tagline is owning your journey.
Okay. And we're going to chuck that in the comments section. We're going to chuck some links to what Stephen's doing in the
Thanks,
comment
lads.
section, just so that you guys get fast tracked to these things if there's something that you need.
Yep.
Yeah. No, and it's really good because it's not something I've personally been through, but from what I know, and yes, been around the community and been admins for dad's pages in the past and stuff like that. I guess you're always going to want what's best for the kids, and really at the end of the day, you know, things have to be done amicably to suit the kids, because I mean, there'd be so much emotion wrapped up in those moments that sometimes the kids' needs and emotions would get forgotten about because you're so worried about, you know, your ex and what they're doing and how you're going to fuck them over, or how you're going to deal with them trying to fuck you over and all this sort of stuff. And so I guess without something, you know, without a mediation process, I guess, you know.
You don't want the kids being pawns either.
No, you don't want the kids being pawns.
Breaks my heart.
Yeah.
So for me, what's so important is, think about it. You've got this beautiful child, or 2, 3, doesn't matter, but you've got this beautiful child who's got a relationship. They love their mum and they love their dad, yeah? And it's an individual relationship they have with them. You as a person have a relationship of some sort, good or bad, with their mum, yeah? Why should your relationship impact their own individual relationship and how they see their version of their mum or dad, yeah? Like, you don't want to break that. You know what I mean? Like I was talking about with the kid's mum when she had a brain tumour and the fear of her, you know, leaving this world, and the kids. My first thought was the kids, like how broken they would be. You know, my heart bled for them, because at the end of the day, I truly believe as long as that man or woman's trying to be or dad or mum's trying to be the best person they can be, or at least try and think of their children's emotional well-being at best, they can. Like, everyone should be in their kids' lives, you know, like that's how I believe it should be. And I'm sick of seeing the court stuff. I'm sick of seeing all the fighting and all of this that gets to that stage. You know, like, you know, if you're solely focused on your kids and not your ego and your emotion, I feel unless there's danger to your children, it should never get to that stage, yeah. Kid focused 100% of the time. That's why I advise any dad or mum going through a separation, kid focused 100%. And, you know, if mums and dads are doing that, you know, eventually it should pay off for a positive.
And with now that you've been doing all this for a few years, how has your mental wellness been like with coping with all of this stuff day in and day out? How do you look after your own mental health?
Wow, it's been a quest, mate. I tell you what, it has been. Like, it's really hard to detach from. I've founded the community, so you see it as your baby. You know what I mean, and you don't want it to fail, so you know you show up as often as you can. And you know it's one of those things I find difficult to step away at times and let other men step up. And shout out to all the men that step up in these spaces of events and online. Like, you're doing an incredible job. Like, it isn't like it's awesome, hey. Like, it's actually been what I've worked out. I've had other people speak to me about it as well. So even my partner, like, Steve, you don't need to show up to everything. And I'm like, but I do, you know, that's my mentality. You know, the best ability is availability. I used to tell my staff that all the time. And, you know, if I'm seen as their leader, then they need to see their leader. But she said, like, you're like disabling people, like, from being leaders themselves and stepping up. You know what I mean? Like, they need something in their life where they can step up and show their leadership skills. Because like I said, every man in that community is a leader of somewhat, and so they've got something within them. You know, regardless of where they're at in that moment of their life, they've got the potential to be an incredible leader of some sort. I believe that truly. You know, and some men will naturally just step up, and some people will take a slow quest to get to that position. But the more show up, the harder it is for them to flourish, and actually the community slows down if I'm showing up all the time. You know what I mean? I need to sort of sit back and let it just flourish. In terms of like the emotional side of things, it's tough when you care about so many men. Like, you generally care about these men and you see them going through tough moments and challenges, and you see something happen and you're trying to put out fires, or you're constantly thinking about it. You know, like, you're thinking, oh, there's an event tomorrow. Is anyone going to show up? Or you feel bad if no one shows up, or you're just constantly thinking stuff, you know. Your mind never clicks off. So the things I do is again, super simple, keeping it super simple. So I basically just, you know, try and get by the waterfront every morning. You may see me do a live every day. I try my best to do a live by the waterfront. You know, where I'm just at peace with the ocean. That's my place. And yeah, I just sort of detach a little bit from there. And what else? I just hang out with my kids. Like, I love, like, being a dad. So when I'm with my kids, something I used to struggle with actually a lot is being present with my kids when I had my old job. And in the early stages of the community, when I was trying to build that, it was really hard to be present with my kids because there's so much uncertainty of fear going on. You know, I was worried about my job. Did I do a good enough job? Would I have a job next week? You know, like, what ifs?
Okay, so in the mornings, you're down by the ocean, and that's like your reset. That's like that moment where you get to remove that cloak, take off the weight of the world, the superhero that is Steve. You get to take a nice moment to just breathe and take that moment for yourself before putting that cloak back on, you know. I'm not sure if you wear your undies over your pants, but a lot of men see that you do, you know.
Cheers, mate. Yeah, look, just a human like you guys. I'm just fortunate enough to find my purpose. So, but yes, it gets quite heavy later through the day in the evening, and that's when most men are available, is in the evening, I find, at night. And that's when some of their darkest moments and when they're needing that connection more than ever is happening. So yes, the morning is my reset, getting that by the ocean, feeling my come up. Feeling my cup up. That. We need a bit of comedy in here, but yeah, feeling my cup up and just being my strongest, best version, just so I can get through, not just for the men, but for myself.
Yeah.
Like, so then I can go home to my beautiful kids and my beautiful partner, you know, as happy as you know, and feeling you know, not as drained, you know, because I've filled my cup up in the morning. But my question to you guys is, obviously, you know, we talk about me a lot, but for you guys, what do you do for your own reset, mental health, whatever to do to recharge? Is there anything particularly that you guys do?
For me personally, I used to have a lot more things that I used to do that would fill my cup. And obviously over the years, the cups change, you know. You find ways to be able to be okay with the world around you. Because, I mean, you create that world that you're in. And if you're not happy with the world that you create, then you've got to change that, right? And so if you're not happy within the world that you create, then something's got to change. But so the world that I've created for myself right now, I'm quite happy within it. So there's not really a hell of a lot that I need to do to fill my cup because I'm happy a majority of the time. But I like being outside. I like to go for a run or a walk, or I like to get down by the ocean as well. There's definitely something about the ocean smell that really does reset you. Ultimately, I'd like to be in the bush a hell of a lot more than I get a chance to be. That's something that I really miss about being in NZ, is just that lush, green, dense forest, that native forest that we have over there, and nothing that can kill you in the bush. But yeah, for me, I just like coming home, seeing that my kids have had a good day. You know, my wife's been doing really well lately. So, you know, all these little things, it's about, I'm quite fulfilled knowing that the world we have created for ourselves and our family unit is working right well, and everybody's got the things that they need, and everybody's doing well and is doing happy. So, you know, that's kind of where I'm at the moment, and just knowing that I've got a good community around me. Friday nights going to the barbecue, that's a non-negotiable for me and my girls now. That's something that we do every Friday without fail, whether it's raining or whether it's not raining. We are there because we know that is a really good time for us. It allows me the chance to be able to connect with the guys, gives my kids a chance to be able to get out there and run around for 3 hours without, you know, there's definitely a lot of eyes on the kids. But the kids get that autonomy over themselves where they can just go. They know the boundaries and they know the rules and just go. You know, check in on them every now and again. And so for me, that's sort of something that, you know, I look forward to at the end of the week. I don't need to be going out all night. I don't need to be going partying. And so, yeah, those are little things. And then, I like to do a park run on a Saturday morning, you know, start the day with a bit of a run. And, that's sort of where I'm at. Those runs are nice for me. Clear my head. Yeah.
Awesome, man. What about you, Braden? On the spot, buddy. I know a few things you do.
Man, you do
Braden,
heaps of things.
me and Braden have some good conversations. So, look, like there's heaps, man. Like it could be you just zoning out in the car, listening to music. Yeah, like honestly, like it could be.
I'll be real.
Yeah.
I'm still. Struggle to find that. Like, I listen to you and like I admire all those things that you were saying, and I
Dude,
just wish that
You are at the barbecue on Friday night too, okay? You and your kids are there. You go to yoga. You have your outlets. You know what I mean? Like, so what?
I do these things, but I don't feel fulfilled.
Okay, all right.
I try, and I still try, and I'm going to keep trying until I find it. But at the moment, I guess if we're going to be real, like, I still struggle to find those things that, I should be happy about a lot of things, but I'm still struggling to find those things that.
I love this, man. I love this conversation right now. It's
like,
so raw.
I don't
man. It's
have an
beautiful.
answer, and if I did, a lot of my problems would be solved at the moment, and I don't have those answers.
You're on the quest, man. The answers are.
I'm at the beginning of that quest at the moment now, and but but you know what the beauty is? The beauty is that I've got this community that helped me find these answers, man. I've got you, even though as as my mentor. I've got you to bounce off as well. I've got fucking Dean. I've got Maddie every day checking in on me. You know, I'm constantly trying to find these things.
You built this podcast, bro.
Nah,
This is yours.
nah. This is ours. This is ours. It's ours.
Your dream.
Hey, it would have never happened if it wasn't your idea.
No, but it wouldn't happen if you guys weren't on board either.
No, but you came up with the idea. And so, you know, you got the train moving, mate. We just jumped on board.
You know, I love seeing my kids happy, and I love seeing my wife happy and all that stuff. But
But what makes Braden happy?
I don't know yet.
Yeah, you do, man. You
I
do.
don't think
You
I
do.
Because if I knew,
You built this.
I'd have those outlets.
Can I
and
answer this for you?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so what you're on this quest right now, you're trying to find that answer, yeah? You haven't felt it yet?
No,
Yeah?
I haven't
You feel
felt
like
it.
it's
That's exactly. I haven't felt it.
you haven't felt it. It's not a feeling yet, but you're doing all the right actions. You're trying, you
Yeah.
put all the habits, and that feeling will come because you're taking the steps, yeah? The answer's within. We all know it's within you. Yeah, it's just not drawn out yet. But it
Yeah.
happens with these conversations. It will happen with the actions you take until one day it clicks. Yeah.
And that's what happens with showing up.
Yep.
You know,
Just
in
constantly
coming to these Friday night events and
Yep.
surrounding myself with you guys. You know, I might not know it yet, but I'm on the path.
Of
Yep,
course,
you're
I'm
man.
on the path,
Of
man.
course.
It's
Sometimes it's
great.
even just the little things, man. Like I used to, I used to just look at the bugs. And man, that'd make me feel
I've seen
so
some
good.
Beautiful
Like
photos of your bugs.
I just love looking at bugs, man. And I just walk away from that moment going, man, I'm so happy.
yeah.
Because, like you look at that little bug and it's just like, dude, that dude's just living his life.
in his
He's not
lane.
a care in the
Just
world,
fucking not
man. He's just
caring.
doing his thing, what he's programmed to do, and he's
What-
just
what I think it may be is it's just I know what it's like for us men a lot of the time, the noise in our head.
Yeah.
It's loud and it's chaotic and it constantly goes, yeah. So it's about trying to find that quietness, you know what I mean? And you're searching for that. I know that. I feel it. Like, right now we'll be talking the podcast, but still thoughts running through your head, man. You'll be at the Friday meetup. You might be listening to a man, but there's still thoughts running through your head about, the day or tomorrow or stuff going on, man. It could be anything. It's just trying to find a way to quieten that noise, and then you'll see
Healthily.
that clarity. Healthily, yes.
Healthily, yeah.
Yes, which you're on the quest for. So,
Yeah.
it's going to happen, and when it happens, you're trying all the right things, and one day it will click. And gratitude. One thing I've just realized is when I was in Bali, obviously you see everyone, they've got nothing, man, like absolutely nothing. They're all happy, yeah. So you ask the question to them, why are you so happy? Stephen, we practice gratitude every day. It's a habit. No matter how little it is, the food, the rain, the challenge, that's been thrown at them. It's a chance to grow, to be better, to stretch your pain threshold. It's like they're grateful for the shit stuff, that's going on in their world, because it's a chance for them to evolve and grow
to
and
grow.
be, and, to be better. So it's like unfortunately in Western culture, and what I've seen a lot of it is like, we're only used to what we know, yeah, and that's everything at our feet a lot of the time, yeah. And then basically the practice of gratitude isn't there. We live a privileged life, we live in one of the safest countries in the world. I think we're in at Lake
For
Eden.
animals.
Yeah, Lake Eden. We're looking at the lake. Remember when I was talking with the boys, and I'm like, how safe do you guys feel right now? There's wars happening, like literally in the Middle East, and Iran and Ukraine and Russia, like literally you can't even step out in your backyard. And you guys are going for a nice run, and the scariest thing is a lizard that you might bump
snake.
into. And we've seen a snake go across the path on a Lake Eden walk. But like how we just got to practice gratitude, I think, and that will bring that happiness you're searching for. But we just need to work on quieting that mind down, man. Yeah.
well, it's not even a search for happiness, it's a search for peace. It's a search for peace within.
Just want to be content.
Yeah.
That's all I
Yeah.
fucking want.
Yeah.
That's all I want. Just be content.
Sometimes the less. What I've realized is, the less you have, and I went from having a lot of things, a lot of stuff. The less I have, the lighter I feel, and it's a beautiful energy to be in. Like, honestly, it is. So, you know, sometimes that's why people clear their desk, wash their car, clean out their car, get rid of stuff, you know, because they want to feel lighter. You know, get rid of stuff. That's a great stuff. That's a great start. And then buy less stuff and give more. You know, whatever you've got, you just give more without expectation. You get rid of stuff. You buy less, and yeah, watch things change.
So, man, that's
Well,
it.
I'm guessing that's bringing us to, that's a good kind of final thought right there. But
Yeah, man.
I want to finish off with a final thought from Steve to the men that are struggling, to, well, anyone who's struggling.
Yep.
What's your final thought? What's your big tip?
Big tip, really. I look back in my start of my journey, and what it was, it's really looking yourself in the mirror and looking hard and looking inward. And you know, we all know, like deep down, sometimes we are stubborn, sometimes it's ego, but we know we had a part to play in whatever's failed in our life, yeah, or why we're not happy. We've got a part to play in that, and it's taking that ownership and saying it out loud and going, you know what, I effed up. You know, I'm sorry for doing that. You know, I can be better. I think that's where it all starts. And then trying to work out how to be better. And that's when you just seek that help. You know, it could be from an environment like the dad's. You know, it could be from a coach or mentor or therapist or someone doing your research. We've got everything at our fingertips. We can research anything these days and find out ways to, you know, just take that step forward. But it's just taking that ownership and going, hey, I can be better. I was put on this planet to be better. You know, I've got a legacy, I've got children, I can be a better human being, surely. And then going, yep, how can I go about doing that and taking that step? That's my part, ownership.
Yeah, nice, man. Nice.
No, that's a good one, man.
That's nice, bro. Nice. Well, if any of the topics on tonight's podcast have resonated with you, reach out, subscribe, follow, comment, drop likes, share it with your friends.
That's it.
We're going to drop Steve's links in the comments in this description. And yeah, if you're a dad out there, join the community. Yeah, man.
Please do. And everything's anonymous.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on, bro.
Appreciate it. That was amazing. Thanks, guys.
Awesome.
Let's get that snapshot in. Episode 10. Woo!
Real talk. We're putting it all on the table. You know what to do.